Um, Good evening and welcome again. We are going to tell you a little bit about the upcoming FRC season and about the things that are probably of immediate concern is the calendar and registration and all the rest of that stuff. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Here is the sort of overview. It turns out there's a lot of things on the FRC calendar this time, so we had to break it into several different slides. The slides will be up and available on the website tonight for you to have a look at. Of immediate, the first thing that's going to happen is on the 20th, just so everybody is aware of this, they will be releasing the FRC teaser for the year at 4 p.m. And they're going to be doing it on GameSense, which is sort of the FRC online television channel hosted by a number of our local folks, plus some other folks from across the country. So thank you so much to Naveed and Stephanie and Evan for making that happen. The link will get sort of passed around, but this little video will tell us what the theme is for the year and probably give us a couple of hints. Who knows? On the 22nd of September at 9 a.m., the first FRC event registration opens. So you will be able to go in and register for your first FRC district event. Now, it turns out that in the next day or so, we will be posting the home events for all of our teams. You will automatically get assigned to your home event unless you would like to change that. So if you would like to change, I recommend you jump in on the 22nd and do that right away. Otherwise, if you're happy with your home event, you may either sleep in or semi-ignore us or whatever you want to do. That'll work. So for those who are new to this, the home event is the event that we have determined is geographically closest to you. And with the exception of Auburn, Mountain View, and Auburn, we sometimes, those are rather oversubscribed, so they're within a couple of miles. So anyway, there you have it. The next date that's very important is 9/23. I'm sorry, I put the wrong name on here. The first Washington district grant closes, but first Washington grants are for all teams in the Pacific Northwest District. It is a grant application that allows us to provide the demographics that number of our donors require, so we require you to fill this in. It isn't a very long grant application. It's really asking about the demographics for your team. It's really straightforward. It won't take long for you to fill out at all. I did it, I think it probably took me about 5 minutes for my team or less. So please be sure to do that so that we can put you on the grant allocations. If we don't get one from you, there's a chance that you may not qualify for some of the grants that we have available. So please do that.
And Kevin, can I just say right now we've only had 59 teams out of the 158 apply. So, you know, to get those grant funds, you please apply. I mean, you have a week left. Please just take a few minutes and apply.
Yep, very important. So, and that was Adrian Rimey, by the way. It came up as First Quad partner, but that's Adrian. And so most of you know her. So she's the boss at most times in my world. Okay, next thing. On the 6th, the second FRC event registration opens, and this is the one you'll want to pay attention to. If you have a that is your chance to go and register for your second district play. We are going to be pretty full this year in general, so highly recommend that you prepare for this day by having your A plan, your B plan, and your C plan in choosing which events that you would like to go to. There will be wait lists for a number of the events. We can't these are not really huge events, so the wait lists we sometimes can't satisfy. So keep in mind when your team in the next week or so should probably go over the schedule and come up with what you believe is are 3 workable plans for you so that you can get into events that you would like to attend. All right? Very good. For Washington State public school teams, the next deadline is the OSPI grant for FRC teams is due, I think it's at 4 o'clock on the 13th. I'm waving my hands, I'm trying to help you out. You really need to plan on getting this one done on, say, by the 11th at the latest, because once you submit the grant, you have to get your building's I-grant administrator or your principal to approve it. And so there is one extra step there. So please don't put this off till the 13th. We really, really would like to give you some money, so try and get that done by the 11th if you possibly can. We really, really much appreciate that. Okay. The next sort of thing on our calendar, if you're interested in doing a 3rd play, that opens on 11/3, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little later. On the 8th of November, Adrian is going to check for me to verify that it actually is the 8th. Oh, yeah, it is the 8th.
It is the 8th. You are correct.
Okay. On the 8th of November, it will be our next FRC team briefing. We'll send out a short agenda on that. So we don't want to hog up all your evenings doing webinars anymore. So we're probably just going to do 2 of them this year. On the 10th of November, inter-district 3rd play registration opens. If your team is interested in traveling to one of the other districts, we have quite a few more to choose from. There's districts in Indiana and of course Michigan and New England. There's going to be a new one in Canada is the theory this year, and the Carolinas. Anyway, if your team would like to travel, that is when that opens, is on the 10th of November. So you can plan ahead for that. All FRC registrations are closed on November 21st, and that is also an important date because you have to have picked your kickoff location by then. We'd like you to get that in early if you can, but kind of the 21st is sort of the last day to make any major changes. Try and get all of your stuff done well before that date because it's a real pain in the butt to get things done after that date, right? So how we doing on any questions there, keeper of the questions?
No, the only thing I'll say is if you're not sure if you have submitted a First Washington grant, go ahead and send me an email with your team number, and I'm happy to check for you and let you know. Floyd is asking, where do you register for events now? You go into Tim's just like you did before, into the portal, and you'll register the same way that you did last year. And Floyd, you can let me know if that answered your question, and if it didn't, I'll try and do a better job of explaining.
Yep. Okay. So with that, there's something that you should have gotten notified by first of this as well today. Come on, slides. There we go. In order to register, in order to make any changes to your registrations, 2 adult mentors, I think the main contact has to be one of them, must pass the YPP program before you can register for your events. Even with the home event.
Kevin, it's the main and the alternate contacts. They will not let you register unless both have passed YPP.
Yes. So I should probably update that slide, but so it is the main and alternate contact must pass YPP before you can register for your first event. We highly recommend you do this now. It takes 4 or 5 days for that to happen. First won't register your team, even though we're giving them a home event, if you haven't done this by next week. So please, please, please start doing it now. I will also give you another pro tip. As you're doing the YPP, the Social Security number, it'll ask you for your Social Security number. If you prefer not to give it out, there's a little checkbox that says no SSN, and that I personally check that myself. I'm pretty sure it's a safe system, but if you're uncomfortable giving that out, you can opt out of that. Now the other weird thing, yeah, go ahead.
Kevin, the email that everybody got today from FIRST said if you don't start that process by tomorrow, they cannot guarantee that you'll be cleared before the first event registration.
Yep. So get on it, folks. All right. Now the other thing that happened last year was we had a couple of teams who had registered for the first one, but then changed the alternate contact before the second event registration, and there were some hiccups in the system for that. Mostly that they didn't get past the YPP process for the second. So we kind of suggest if you've managed to get yourself past, you might want to hang out until after you've registered for your second event before you try and change your mentor. Okay? So good. Adrian, any of those questions we need to deal with?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, good. All right. So this was sort of the administrivia slide. This is all of the deadlines and things that are happening. Our next one is about workshops and other events that are happening. On 9/24, I'm skipping one just on purpose. I'll come back to it. On 9/24, we're having a leadership workshop in Kent, is where it'll be held live. It'll also be held live in Spokane. It'll also be held live in Wilsonville, and it will also be online. So the idea is that we're actually going to broadcast the leadership workshop live from Kent, but we're hoping that teams will be able to get together to participate in some of the hands-on activities as a group rather than doing them as individual. If you're unable to make any of those and would like to watch it online, there will be a link on our website. We'll probably put it on the front page of firstwa.org, and you'll be able to tune in and watch. So we're going to be talking about leadership mostly as it pertains to leading a FIRST team. So there's no technical detail to this, so it's not that kind of workshop. So we invite everybody to show up. You're welcome to bring about 4 students and a mentor. Kind of would like to limit it to about 5 people per team. It ought to be fun. So it's on the calendar on the FirstWA website. Basically, it runs from about 10 a.m. to about 3 p.m. Okay. In conjunction with that, we're also doing audiovisual crew training. If you have students that would like to get involved in that, or if you have adults who would like to get involved with our AV production stuff, we're having a live training on Friday night, the 23rd from 5 to 9, and we're also doing, that group of people is going to broadcast the event on the 24th as an opportunity to get experience with all of our equipment. It'll be fun and exciting. Anybody is welcome to attend. If you can only make one day or the other, that's fine. We're good with that. Please pass this on to your students if you don't mind. We rely heavily on students who really enjoy doing this sort of thing, and a lot of the students who have been doing it for years and years are all off to college this year, so we need to replenish our supply. Appreciate that. Okay, on November 8th, the Business Roundtable hosted by Shockwave 4488 is going to be in Hillsboro. There's going to be more information about that on the OregonFirst.org website. The details haven't been published yet, but it might be something you want to put on your agenda. Also on October 22nd, First Fair, Gladstone does a great job hosting some preseason workshops, and they're doing it again this year. So that'll be on Saturday, the 22nd of October. In Washington, our version of it are the FRC workshops. We're going to have 3 of them at the moment. We're trying to get one established in Eastern Washington, so stay tuned for news on that. But we're going to have one in Tacoma on the 29th of October, hosted by Sodabots. And then on the 5th, we have 2 of them. Skunkworks will be doing one in downtown Seattle, down by Boeing Field, and Cascade Bruin, or the Bruin Robotics from Cascade High School up in Everett will be doing one also on that day. So look forward to that. Also the same day, we have a mentor roundtable, also hosted by Shockwave 4488 in Hillsborough. I think I spelled that right. Details of which are all on the associated websites for this. Okay. Cool. Tim is telling me that Wilsonville will have plenty of room for the leadership workshop, so bring as many as you would like. Awesome. Thank you for that. All right. How are we doing on the questions? We're looking good? Okay.
Yep, we're good at the moment.
Okay. We're starting to get more and more off-season events. Actually, the first one was hosted by Apex from Seattle Christian School, right? I can never remember keep the name straight. Anyway, Apex hosted one last Saturday. It was a huge success. They did a really great job, and I think there were like 19 or 20 teams competed, and everybody had just a rip-roaring good time. It was a good way to dust off last year's robot, and it was a great opportunity to bring in some new folks to see what's going on. We have 4 more off-season events, well, 3 more off-season events and one in Bunny Bots. So on the 15th of October, Girls Generation Oregon is happening at Catlin Gable in the Portland area, hosted by 1540, of course. It's a great event. If you're not familiar with it, we encourage teams to attend. The caveat is only girls get to be the drive team. So it's a great way to let the girls get a little more experience driving stuff. It's also a great recruiting tool to bring on new girls. It's a lot of fun. It is low stress. It is it's competitive. It is, but by the same token, you can bring as many girls as you'd like and swap them in and out, let them drive, and introduce them to the first world. Exact same thing sort of happens at Tahoma High School on the 22nd of October, and so that'll be a lot of fun. Same format, girls only. The Tahoma event is also another training opportunity for students who would like to get involved in the AV equipment sort of stuff. So we have lots of training opportunities coming up. Okay. We have a new event, Robot Rewind, hosted by Team Chuck, 2147 at West Valley High School. And I can't, Adrian, remind me why I put the funny date on there.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the funny date. I have it hidden by questions. Well, it's because it's 11, and 11:12. Gary, why don't you unmute yourself for a minute? And
so Friday is Veterans Day, and so we'll be setting up in the morning. So we'll have the field up for either some practice matches, things like that in the afternoon, and then the actual competition will be on Saturday.
So teams could just show up on Saturday if they wanted to?
Yes.
Okay. Great. It'll be fun. It'll be our first big off-season event in the Spokane area. So West Valley is an awesome venue for us. So there's plenty of room, and they do a great job. So go have some fun. And then the other off-season event is on the 17th of December. Bunny Bots is being hosted by Catlin Gable, and actually, I'll bet you Dale is here. Dale, you're about to get unmuted if I find you in the list. There you are. I'm going to unmute you. Hopefully there's nothing loud in the background. Hi, Dale.
Oh, hi there.
This is Dale Yoke.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about Bunny Bots for the year.
Yeah, so the idea of Bunny Bots, we've been doing this for, I don't know, about 8 years now or so, and we come up with a different game each year that's different than any team has ever seen before. And it always has a little bit of whimsy to it. It always has some things that FRC could never do at their scale, but we can do at our nice little homey scale. And it's just a lot of fun. We use it as a way of training our new members of our team. We split our team up into a couple little sub-teams, and they all build a you know, a robot that's an FRC class robot, but it's a simpler game than you would normally see in FRC. So for us, it's a training mechanism, and it's been a big hit. We usually sell out each year. There's still a few slots left, so if people are interested, this would be a good time to get signed up.
Outstanding.
And you would do that at team1540.org/bunnybots.
Outstanding. I will, Adrian, can you make a note that we need to add that registration link to this?
I'll be happy to.
Thank you so much.
Dale, do you mind, can you shoot me the registration link really quickly just to make sure that I have it?
Sure, yeah, no problem.
Thank you. That'll help me make sure I put on the right link.
Okay.
And thanks, Dale, for all that you're doing with this. Cat and Gable is going to run 2 off-season events, and they've been extraordinarily successful. So thanks for that. Okay, back to our next slide. Yeah, and I sort of mentioned this before, but we're really honestly trying to push this. We have a wonderful distinction across the country of having the best web stream broadcasts and in the country, and people really look to us to do amazing things. And so we're starting to lose a little bit of our expertise. We still have expertise, but we want to keep that refreshed. So we really appreciate it if any of your kids are interested in this AV crew stuff. If they've seen the big tables of equipment that we've got, it's really fun. It's nerdy as all get out, and the kids who get involved really learn a lot and have a good time. So we'd really appreciate that. They can email Eric S. at FirstWA. That's Eric Stokely, by the way. Eric Stokely at firstwa.org to get signed up. Really appreciate that. We're also looking for adults that would like to think about being technical directors. That means they're responsible for the sort of whole setup, the pipe and drape, the screens, the video projectors, all the rest of those things. So we're looking for maybe late college students or recent alumni, or anybody else who kind of likes to do theater-like stuff. We'd appreciate being able to deepen our bench of technical directors. That would be awesome. Okay. So that sort of does the calendar up through the end of December. If we add some stuff, we'll let you know. So status for the district. So it looks like we will grow from 158 teams to 166 this year. Yay us. We're pretty excited about that. We're still going to hold 9 district events, and there's been one venue change. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The district championship this year will be back at Eastern Washington University in Cheney. It'll be April 5th through the 8th. One of the big changes for the year is this year we send 41 teams to World Championships. That is up from 30 last year. So keep that in mind, that we are sending a lot of teams, and so your chances of making it to Texas have gone up by 33%. So I point that out so that we can all consider how much our fundraising needs to kind of kick into gear if it is something that you would plan to go to. Now, we are going to Houston. One team got a big jump on stuff, and we're going to buy tickets to go to St. Louis. We are in Houston, Texas this year, and actually for the next probably 4 or 5 years at least. So yay! There'll be some new stuff for us to learn. We, as in the organizing committee, I guess, have not heard a whole lot of details about how Texas is going to work. We'll find out a little bit more. Now, one thing that we are extremely proud of is that last year we sent just about 100 volunteers to St. Louis. So we represented a really large portion of the volunteer pool for World Championships. Yay us. First has asked us if we can try and recruit folks to go to Houston, especially if you, because we've been running districts. We as a district, we will run 10 events by the time it's time to go to Houston, and so they were hoping that some of our volunteers would like to help out in Houston. So keep that in mind. We will represent actually the bulk of the experience on how to run a first event, and we look forward to having you join us down there. So.
Kevin, can I say something? So Susan is going to create a link or a kind of a form that people can fill out if they're interested in volunteering in Houston. It's in addition to VIMS, but basically it's so we can communicate with those volunteers and help make sure they get into roles that they should be in, and that we're able to utilize them the way that we should.
Yep.
So everybody watch for that. The link will be in the next coach's email, and feel free to disseminate that to your parents and mentors.
Thanks. Yeah, and I'm extraordinarily proud of our district. Our district is actually pretty special in the FIRST universe. Sometimes we don't realize it since we're in it and everything seems normal, but FIRST very, very, very much appreciates the caliber of volunteers that come out of the Pacific Northwest, and it's something for us to hold a great deal of respect and a great deal of honor for, because they really honestly rely on us a lot, and so anything that you can do to help out that cause will be fun. Okay.
And also, I'm working with a different organization to try and make it easier to secure tickets and for travel. And so we'll have more information in November. I don't have a lot of information now, but I am working to try and help all of you get from Seattle or Portland to Houston.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. So with that, here is the event calendar for the year. FIRST is also, I'm pretty sure they've already published this, but we just wanted to point this out to you. There are a couple of things of interest. We're going to be at Auburn, Mountain View, and West Valley week 1. Week 2 we have Wilsonville, but also week 2 is the FTC Super Regional in Tacoma. And so there actually are 2 events that weekend. One of them just happens to be an FTC Super Regional. That'll be 72 teams from the 12 western states and Alaska. And so we're really excited. This will be our first year to do that. We're going to put on a big show for all of those students. So if your students would like to come help us out and volunteer, or if you would like to come help us out and volunteer, we'd love to see you. Week 3, Central and Mount Vernon. Week 4, Glacier and Clackamas.
And
yes?
Kevin, actually, there's a correction. Week 4 is Glacier and Lake Oswego. Week 5 is Clackamas and Auburn.
The dates are wrong?
Wait. Let me look. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The dates, never mind.
Good, because Debbie told me that there was something wrong, so I went and verified it.
No, Debbie, I thought you hadn't fixed it, but I was wrong. You were right.
Oh, okay, yay. So week 5 will be at Auburn and Lake Oswego High School. So we won't be in Philomath this year. We'll be up at Lake Oswego. And then week 6 will be Eastern Washington University for the district championship. And that will be a 64-team event again, and ought to be good fun. Okay. Any questions about the schedule? All right. So let's talk real quick about third plays. Third plays, just so everybody's aware, they cost $1,000 and they do not count for points. Your third play will be chronological in order. So if you the first 2 by date are the events that will count for your points. The third one by date does not. So if you sign up for like a week 1 third play, that actually turns into your first play hopefully that made sense. Registration will open on the 3rd. We don't have a whole lot of spots left this year, so if you are thinking about doing a third play, we certainly welcome you to do it. It's great to get the experience, but you'll probably want to show up on the 3rd to do that. They're going to fill this time. Then you do have the option of a third play in another district. Registration opens on the 10th. You're last in line, so it's possible that you won't get in. That you can't qualify for any awards or points at interdistrict plays. And however, though, interdistrict play does not affect the chronological order of your events. So there's an upside. If you really wanted to do a third play but didn't want to muck around with your points, you could actually travel somewhere else and do an interdistrict play there. So just thought I'd throw that in there. And then you'll receive separate invoices for third plays, and also you'll receive separate invoices if you choose to go to a traditional regional or interdistrict play. Okay. Hopefully that made sense. I just wanted to throw that in there because there were some questions about that last year. The participation fees are the same as last year, and we expect everybody to end up paying about the same that they paid last year. So First Washington and Oregon Robotics have already been fundraising on your behalf, and so we're getting close. We're excited about that. I think, did we get Aaron? Aaron?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Hi, everyone.
So are there any updates to this that we want to?
So teams, first thank you. A lot of you have already completed your grant application, which can easily be found online, firstY.org. But if you have not completed your grant application, you have between now and next Friday, September 23rd, to submit the grant application, and then we will be reviewing grants. In addition to the application, which honestly will take you about 15 to 20 minutes to complete, please complete it, because this kind of information on the demographics of your team budget is really essential to the organization in engaging other specific funders, companies, and foundations who are interested in supporting you. So thank you very much for participating.
All right, and so this is it. I mean, I just don't want to scare anybody to thinking that this grant application is really long. There's just some basic contact information. We need to know whether you're public, private school, those sorts of things. There's some basic team demographics having to do with the number of students on your team and some of the ethnic makeup. And then there's some information about your mentors and their hours and your teacher hours. And then there's it's like 3 questions about your budget, and really that's it. So we're not asking you for long essays. This is sort of more of a informational grant request rather than you having to sit down and try and tell us why you're the greatest thing on this side of the planet. So.
And Kevin, what people need to understand too is these are the questions we're getting asked when we try and apply for grants to get teams more money.
Yep.
And so the reason we're asking these questions is because we need them in order to secure funding for the teams.
Yep. So this is 100% to your benefit. And again, like I said before, if you don't fill one of these things out, there are possibilities that we may not be able to get you grant money because we don't have the supporting data for your team. So help us help you. Really appreciate it. One more.
Yep. One other thing that I will mention. I know last year was kind of the first year, but for all of you who have a working relationship with your CTE, Career and Technical Education Advisor within your district, please brief them this coming week about what the invoice might look like so that there are no surprises.
Yes, we appreciate that. We had a few surprises last year. They were it was just mostly the information did not get passed on to the CTE directors, and some of them were concerned. And so anyway, thank you for that. Okay, so if the grant application, here it is. It's easy to find. It's firstwa.org/grant-application. There you go. It's just that easy. Really appreciate you doing that. It is due on the 23rd because we have to start allocating the funds that we have, and some of our other donors would like that information. So, okay.
Well, one last thing is right now we have 70 FRC teams that have completed the application, which is about 50%. So if you have not submitted your application, please do so. And if you think you've submitted but you just can't remember, send me an email, Erin@firstwa.org, and I'm happy to double check so you're not reinventing your work that you or a colleague did a couple months ago. Okay, thanks.
Yep, and somebody, Bruce, thank you, Bruce, for submitting that question. Bruce asked, he's already registered, but the demographics of his teams have changed since he did that. The girls are doing an awesome job at recruiting more girls. How does he change his application? If there has been a substantial change either with your budget or with the demographics, submit a new one. We will use the last or the most recent version of this that you have submitted for your data. We appreciate that. That was a great question. Okay. All right. And then I just also part of the funding is that we are following donor intent. So there are some teams who will get funded more than other teams, and we just want to be honest and upfront about that. So if you guys end up comparing your bills, the numbers may be different, and it had to do with it may have had to do with your geographic location. It may have had to do with some donors would like to focus in their area. Some donors would like to focus only in rural areas. It's a large matrix that would make your mind numb, and thank you to Erin and Terry for keeping track of all of this stuff, and to Cindy LeBeau. The spreadsheet is large and complex to try and explain. However, we do maximize every team's grants to the best of our ability. So there you go. All right. I was hoping this thing was only going to last about 45 minutes. Hey, look at that. We're at the end. Isn't that exciting? So we are, this information will be put up on the web, the slides will be put up on the web, and the recording of this will also be put up on the web, and you'll be able to find it under team resources.
I was going to say, Kevin, will you go to the First WA website and just walk everybody through
so,
yeah, where they'll find things as we're changing our website?
Yeah, a couple of things have changed. We are updating a few things. First of all, you may have noticed that we changed our name back to First Washington. We were Washington First Robotics for a long time. Long story, won't get into that, but that's what we have done. So hey, we have a nice shiny new logo. And we're currently, the website is being revamped. We have moved what used to be under programs. There's still stuff about the programs there. The reality is that a lot of the team resources have moved over here to team resources. We apologize. We've gotten a lot of comments on things are hard to find at the moment. We are actively working to fix that. If you come over here to team resources, and you will find under you'll find communications. So is this where the slides are going?
No, it's going to be under workshops and webinars.
Workshops and web. Oh yeah, right there. Okay.
And if you go up to the top, FRC reference reports, that's where I've posted who signed up for our leadership camp. And by tomorrow morning, I will be posting a preliminary version of the home event list. Now, last year, this is preliminary, and there might be some slight changes, but this is based on the information that I have. So teams can look at that and get an idea of where their home event will be.
Yep. Great. So, and then under workshops and webinars, I guess we might as well just, we'll add it to the top. How's that?
Yeah.
So this is where
Yeah.
you'll find it, and if you click on one of these little down arrows, there'll be the slides and a link to the.
Yeah, I always have the most current information, both for the communications and the workshops and webinars. Obviously, most of that is from last year, but I always put the most current one at the very top, and so
Yeah,
that's where you want to look for stuff.
great. Robert is asking, do we have a tentative date when we will receive an invoice to pay from?
Yes, it's on if you go to under Team Resources to payment information, and it will also take you here from the FIRST website. It's November 8th to 14th is when we will be sending out invoices, so you should have your invoice no later than November 14th.
Yep.
And it talks about when invoice or when payments are due, and they're due by December 16th.
We'd appreciate if you get it to us a lot earlier than that, though. But
Oh, absolutely.
you're expensive people. Okay.
So Kevin, this is Erin. Let me make just a comment on the website, because there was obviously a lot of discussion about kind of retooling the website, and because all of you really are the #1 leaders in our FIRST community, we want you and your teams to understand that our website really is the front porch of our organization. And while you and your team members and your parents and your mentors and coaches use firstwa.org as a primary resource to find out a whole bunch of details about what your team needs to be doing and deadlines, we also have a tremendous amount of schools, school districts, companies, people that are interested in coming to this website. So that is why we are trying to have our website really be able to answer questions to many different audiences. So we appreciate your patience with this. We know that change is hard, and it's going to take a little bit of all of us maybe rewiring on figuring out where we find the resources. But give us another couple weeks, and it should be much more improved and will be a great resource for you and your teams to point people to learn more about how they can get involved in FIRST and be involved in starting a team. So thank you.
And the other thing to remember is most of the information for you guys is going to be under the Team Resources section. So whenever you're looking for something, whether it's information on an event or a past webinar or anything, go there first, because that is where we will be posting information.
Okay, so for those of you who were like me and didn't pay a whole lot of attention to this stuff, or to what I'm about to tell you earlier, I'm actually going to show you the new FIRST website if you haven't seen it, because most of us are used to going into Tim's and doing that sort of stuff. This and I'm hopefully nothing up here comes up terribly confidential, but this is my login for the new FIRST website. So once you log in, and if you are a main or alternate contact, or actually if you're the main contact, you're going to get presented with under my dashboard. You're going to get presented with a screen that looks like this. Somebody is asking what this stuff means. So you can do things. You can manage this is basically kind of like Tim's used to be. It's really close. It is a little different, but it's pretty close. And it's always telling you your outstanding tasks. Now, yours is going to say pay team registration, and if I click on this, it's going to take me to another page, our page, in which case we're going to tell you what the payment sort of stuff is. So you are okay if you have logged in and this outstanding task is there. We expect you to have this outstanding task until mid-November. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So so don't flip out if you see that. Yeah. And if you have the other thing that wasn't 100% apparent is that if you have multiple teams like I do, I happen to have FTC teams as well. It wasn't readily apparent to me that if I click on this, I can change to like my FTC team. So here's the information for my FTC team. So this was the one stumbling block that I've helped a number of people through already. So if you've got FTC teams and FRC teams, this little button is there. Aside from that, so this is what Tim's looks like now. It's different than what you had before. Make sense, I hope? Somebody is asking a really great question. What is it going to look like for the events for this team? And I think you click on My Events. You know what? Actually, now that you mention it,
yeah,
I haven't seen.
And that's what I wanted to say. I wasn't clear on that either. I have sent an email to my contact with First, and I will try and get something that's a bit more specific so people will understand what they need to do for registration. Plan to look for that in the team blast that goes out on Tuesday.
Yeah. So the appropriate statement is, and Robert actually is asking it now. You are not paying for. You will not be paying for your event through this. In fact, if you click on it to do that, it's going to take you again to our page. So you will still be paying us for all of this stuff. Hopefully that made sense. Okay. Tracy has asked a really great question. What happens if I haven't passed YPP? Well, it turns out that you won't be able to see pretty much any of this until you do that. So when you log in, it'll be obvious whether you've passed YPP or not.
And again, First said if you want to be able to register on time, you need to start that process tomorrow.
Yep.
Last time I checked, about 40% of our coaches needed to go through YPP. So be sure to reach out to the other coach on your team and start that process tomorrow if you're unsure.
Yeah, and you know, so down here it's telling me, well, I haven't started the STIMS process yet, and I haven't got anything from my other mentors yet. But both of me and my alternate have done the YPP, so mine is coming up as done. So if you're wondering whether it's been done or not, you must get 2 out of 2 in order to be able to move on. I've already done that. Otherwise, it will tell you like 0 out of 2 or 1 out of 2, and there'll be a YPP thing button up here somewhere for you to press. It actually was fairly straightforward. It's a little cleaner than it was last year, honestly. Okay. All right. Do we have any other awesome questions going on here?
I think I got the rest of them.
Okay. All right. So Adrian, will you take care of Mike's question?
Doing it now.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So aside from that, do we have any other questions for the question box, or we can just call it a night? Thank you for your comment, Tim. I appreciate that very much. He gave us a thank you. So, all right, everybody, we're gonna end it for tonight, and we will look forward to hearing from you soon.